Kelvin, how did your journey with Tesla begin?
I actually noticed Tesla back in 2016, but too bad lah. I didn't start investing back then. Otherwise, I wouldn't be Kevin Learns investing. I'd be Kevin Learns Tesla already.
Right.
But I think my real journey with Tesla started in 2020 when I started seeing other YouTubers talking about Tesla. So that's when I jumped onto the bandwagon. But back then, I was like, buy first, check later. Then after a few months after I bought, I only started to research into the company. And the more I researched, the more I realized that Tesla is actually a legit company there. So yeah, the more I research, the more Tesla is a good company. So, and that's where it led to us to where all of us are now. Yes, fan group everywhere, even in Singapore. So yeah, that's my journey with Tesla.
All right. Let me try to expand that a bit. So you mentioned that after a while of studying the company and looking at the company, you found that it's legit. What particularly, technically, right, like in terms of the engineering or in terms of the people, what particularly stood out to you? What made you say, okay, I put what I put what I learned well into what I want to do?
So I think for them, they were the forefront movers of technology. First, it was EV. They just dragged the entire car company into this whole EV thing. And all the rest of the car companies have to just follow along or get left behind. So that's one. Then the second one was the full self-driving, the whole technology of making driving safer. Then there was the energy, and now it's the whole AI board thing that's going on. So they are basically the movers of a lot of things all together in one company.
All right, awesome. All right, next we'll move on to Rui Ming. Okay, Rui Ming is a successful ex-poker player, and he now conducts classes on finance. He also regularly shares his passion of Tesla as a company. Rui Ming, how did your journey with Tesla begin?
Hey guys, so interesting story, right? I actually first heard about Tesla in 2018 from a good friend, Ken. Some of you might know him as Chicken Genius. Like we were, I think, having dinner overseas, and then the conversation went like, hey, what's your top 3 stocks? And then he said his top 3 stocks. Chicken Genius said his top 3 stocks were like Apple, Google, and Tesla. Then I mean like, Tesla is like quite the uncommon choice. So back then I read out more about it, and to be honest, it wasn't easy because there was a lot of like misinformation, fake news, a lot of FUD spread about Elon Musk and the company as a whole. But after I read out more, I feel like I slowly understand the vision that Elon Musk wanted to bring to the world, and slowly I increased my conviction over the years. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So there is really a lot of FUD that goes on about the company as well as Elon Musk. You know, people are always saying a lot of things. Rui Ming, I do know that you read his book recently. Give us one insight that you gained from reading the book that you can reflect on now and say, this guy is legit.
One insight that I have is I also drawing from my personal experience, and I think it makes sense that like whatever Elon Musk do, it's not easy, and it sometimes like people might read the book and then say, hey, there's a lot of red flags about it. But when I read the book, I feel like it only shows how not just human he is, but also how hard he tries to bring the vision that he wants into his companies and to the world. And that's something that I felt was there's a lot of grit and determination in what he's trying to do, and that actually gave me confidence in his leadership and in Tesla.
All right, thank you, Rui Ming. All right, we'll move on to our last speaker. Okay, JC is an equity dealer at Mumu Singapore. He's a passionate advocate for financial literacy and a regular feature on Mumu and local media publications. He usually provides commentary on the general industry. How did your journey in the industry begin?
For me, I guess everyone can hear, right? Okay. So for me, the journey really begins, I would say, when I started my first kind of paper trading. This is how I really started on this whole finance journey itself. So it's during Polytechnic, and then I started this paper trading. And then from there, quick fun update. I was also an IT guy like Kelvin, from my understanding. And then from there, I moved on to finance when I was doing my bachelor's degree, and then learn more about it. Somehow I was with DBS, and then following now I'm with Momo. And this whole journey of investing, as well as today's event, is Tesla. I think to bring a point with what Kelvin has mentioned earlier, I also found out about the stock, even the company itself in 2020, when everyone was very passionate about this company in 2020 itself. So even for myself, when everyone that's looking to this journey of finance, you want to find out about company, a lot of this has to do with momentum. We find out everyone is talking about it, whether you like it or not. If everyone is talking about it, be it on social media, be it within your peers, word of mouth, you start to learn about it, find out more about it, and then you get into the topic itself. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so talking about Tesla in general, right? There are a lot of things, some people are very optimistic about the company, some people less optimistic, a bit pessimistic, in fact. For the panelists, right, y'all can take this question in any way y'all want. Whoever wants to reach for the mic first, y'all can take it first. What do you see as Tesla's biggest competitive advantage right now? Any of the panelists. Whoever's holding the mic is fine.
Okay, I start first. So there's a lot of advantages that I think Tesla have, but if I were to choose the biggest, I would say is Elon Musk and his leadership, because it comes from the reasoning behind it comes from the top down, right? Whatever he wants to do, it drives everything else. So, like for example, you can say they have a very good lead in EVs, FSD, but that comes from the management at the top. So, cause and effect. So, I think the management, Elon Musk and his top leadership is the biggest advantage that drives the innovation, the culture, and all the advantages that they have right now. And these advantages and this brand is only getting wider. Yeah, that's just my take.
All right, that's great. It's quite amazing that it comes out in the products as well, right? Like when there are many owners here, all the cars that we see over here, when owners themselves, the previous panel was a bunch of owners, when they speak about the cars, they are so amazed by the technology, they love it. They say, I will never change to anything else. Especially in the EV world, they are never going to change back to ICE. You'll never hear them say, I want to go back to an ICE car and EV is so bad. It is amazing, right? What about the other two panelists? What do y'all think? What's Tesla's biggest competitive advantage?
So for Elon, he mentioned that it is manufacturing. But that was back in 2020. I feel that there's not a real advantage because once you build a factory in maybe China, the whole idea of manufacturing can be just copied over to another car company. So to me, it is more about the soul of Tesla itself, which is what Ruiming mentioned just now. This is the idea and the whole courage to take risk where no other companies dare to. So like what I mentioned, Tesla was the first company that dared to make EV as a car company, while no other company dares to. Then they pioneered this whole full self-driving thing. Even though it's still not out yet, it has already saved a lot of lives just by making driving a lot safer. Then after that, is right now saving the environment so they are actually recycling some of the lithium batteries that people have sent back to them. Right now it's about like 92% recycling rate. Then after that, they just make the whole efficiency going up by introducing the Tesla bot thing, which is still not out yet. But last month I saw that it was doing some yoga posting. It was able to sort some bricks into some cardboard box. So these are the things that no other companies dares to do, where Tesla dares to do. So it's this whole idea that Tesla embodies. So I think that is their competitive advantage.
All right, that's so awesome. So after two speakers have shared their ideas about what the company is about, neither of them focused on what is just happening now. They always focus on what is happening with the soul of the company. the head of the company, Elon Musk, as well as the people, they will constantly keep trying to take risks, keep trying to improve. They are never satisfied with the status quo. If any of y'all have read the book about Elon Musk, he never sits very long being satisfied with just one thing. Once he landed Falcon 9 for the first time, he could only be so happy for so long before he went on to his next endeavor. He never was comfortable. JC, what do you think?
For me, I think both Kelvin and Ray Ming had very good points, especially for Tesla itself. There's a lot of big competitive advantage that they have. For me, I would say the brand itself is the biggest competitive advantage. So I understand that Tesla was the pioneer electric vehicle company. So they started this whole EV industry. So a lot of companies are now doing their own EV, but the one that started was Tesla. So the branding itself, it's the biggest advantage, competitive advantage, because right now, I think if we go down to, let's say, not in this event, but let's say we go down to Orchard Road, you grab 10 people, 20 people, ask them, think of a brand when you think of electric vehicle. Chances are Tesla will be the top answer. So this is where I think Tesla as a company itself, they have created their own branding to a point where I think right here today in the TeslaCon event, we do see amazing products by Tesla itself. Everyone can see what kind of vehicles is here. You get to see all these amazing vehicles, the branding itself, and we have TeslaCons. So we have all the owners, the enthusiasts, they're all coming. So for me, that could be one of the biggest advantage for Tesla. And of course, other things, maybe it's, I would say, maybe in Singapore, it might not be the biggest, but the supercharging network. Because Singapore is, after all, a smaller country. There's so limited of how many of these superchargers that we can actually install. So worldwide, of course, let's say in the US itself, it's really huge. So this is also an advantage that they have that their competitors may not be actually doing.
Right. And I would personally say that, in fact, we are just getting started, right? EV adoption in the world is around 10%, 11%. There's still a lot more to do. And even Tesla itself has so many more projects upcoming that we just haven't seen yet. But once the world sees it, it's going to be world changing. All right. So let's move on to our next question, right? What would it take for the public to see Tesla as an AI company? That's like a next step, right? So right now, most of our event as well, right? There's all the vehicles here. We're just looking at the cars, the physical thing that's out there that we can touch, we can feel. What is it in the AI sphere that they can do that the public will be like, now Tesla is an AI company? Any of the speakers, please.
I think there are three things that are going on for Tesla, three verticals. The first one is their full self-driving. But I think the world has already got bored of their full self-driving. It's like, when is it out? It's never going to come out, which I think is very likely to come out within the next 10 years. So that's the first thing. Once it comes out, people will acknowledge that Tesla has really solved full self-driving. And that would mean a lot of things for Tesla. For example, one, more revenue, lesser car accidents. Then for the second thing is that Tesla has actually moved their full self-driving training thing onto their Dojo supercomputer. and that means that Tesla no longer has to depend on human to code their full self-driving. So that just means their full self-driving will progress a lot faster as compared to before. Okay, so that's the second thing. And for the third thing, their AI bot, which I mentioned just now, so it has a bit of similarity to that Boston Dynamics, the whole robot thing which people kick around, abuser. So, but for Tesla, they are using it for their, maybe in the future, for factories to create cars, and even further in the future is to even become our helpers, hopefully. Yeah, so these are the things that when you add up together, it will make Tesla into an AI company.
All right. What about the other two speakers? What do you guys think?
For me, I think it's like what Calvin said, is full self-driving. I think that will be the immediate next step where I think the general consumers or the public will have a mindset shift. So for instance, like if you take a Grab from here home, and then if your Grab car, right, don't have driver, it's just automated. Then I think that is like a distinct mindset shift is driven by software, it's AI. And I think also the pushback will be like, hey, is it safe or not? But, because we are not used to it. But for example, if you take a plane from here to Japan, most of the flight is also autopilot, right? The pilots only do the landing and all that. So it's not that, it cannot be done. The technology is already there, just that we have to fine tune. And I think we are getting closer. I think those of you Tesla owners, you can see with every update on FSD, right, we are getting closer to it. And it might take a while, but I think there is no harm to, delaying it. So we don't want to, rush it out. And then we have accidents on the road. That's the last thing we want. We want to make sure that everything is on track. So it might take another 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. To be honest, I do not know when it will be fully released. But when that stage comes where you see all your friends or most of your friends, like their cars no need drivers, full self-driving, or they can sit in the driver's seat, but they can, watch a movie, or read a book while on the way to their destination. Then I think there will be a distinct adopter, like a mindset shift in consumers where, perhaps Tesla is not just selling cars, but it's really a AI company. Yeah, that's just my take.
All right. But Elon says FSD is coming by end of 2023. All right, just a joke. It will take a while, but so I believe what Ruiming and Kelvin have said as well is it is a step change. It's a disruption of the industry, right? So like the thought process I usually run through is like if the cost of public transport now is a certain amount and the cost to take a Grab is a certain amount, what is the amount in between that you will say, I will take a Grab all the time? And that's probably the disruption or the AI advantage of what FSD can provide in the future. JC, what do you think?
For me, I think both Kelvin and Ruiming talk about the most important thing already, which is the FSD for Tesla itself. So for me, right now, I'm pretty sure the public, instead of perceiving Tesla as an AI, definitely perceiving it as a tech company. So go from a lot of angles, they'll look at it as a tech company. And then for Tesla itself, for the public to actually perceive it as an AI company, we can look at all these other AI companies that is going on right now. Of course, AI itself is the biggest buzzword this year. So it started early this year with OpenAI, with the ChatGPT itself. So AI started from there, there's a big boom. And then following onwards, we have NVIDIA as well, who the CEO talk about AI chips. So we look at all these different companies being AI now. However, there are also AI solutions. So this is where the public really can start to see Tesla as a company going from, of course, they're not just selling vehicles, to become a tech company and then transition to more of an AI company with all these different AI solutions. It could be, of course, one of them would be the end of the year 2023 full self-driving. I'm not sure when that will actually happen, but these are solutions that Tesla as a company, they can actually provide to all of the users out there. And then following onwards, they can provide different solutions. Just like I talked a little about battery. I'm not sure how they can do it. So battery with AI solutions. And then when all of this starts happening, maybe in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc., then the public will really start seeing all of these different solutions that Tesla can give up to the public, and then the perception will change. So it's no longer just a car company, not a tech company, but an AI solutions company as well.
All right. So what that means is that AI, like JC said, right? AI is a bit of a buzzword. People say it as a coverall. Like ChatGPT is the same, FSD is the same, but we understand fundamentally that it's different. When Tesla tackles AI, it tackles it from many different aspects, from the board to vision to Dojo as a service possibly in the future, and many, many other things. In terms of energy, they are able to do storage systems that sell when the price is too expensive, and buy when the price is cheaper so that the user gets a better use of their equipment. All right, so for the three speakers, what do you see as the next big thing? What do you look forward most to see in 2024, 5 years, and 10 years down the road? So you guys can pick 1 year each, or you all can just go all three, if you take everything.
I hope to see $130,000 Tesla, including COE in Singapore.
That's already the case, right?
Including
Oh,
COE.
130. All right, never mind. Sorry, my bad.
I think for this, I do think it will happen very soon. Tesla introducing budget models, not necessarily 130,000 including COE lah. That would be a dream lah.
I do think that a few of us came together and calculated, right? So for the $25,000 USD car in Singapore, if you translate it over and you add ABSD, the additional cost, ARF, right? I think the total with all the subsidies comes to about 45,000 without COE. So it is possible with their $25,000 car.
Yeah, so that's what I hope to see lah.
Yeah, that's a dream.
Being more affordable to people who really like the car, and not just for rich people. Yeah, so that's my dream for Tesla next year.
All right. What about 5 years or 10 years? Or 20, you know, take it however you want. Just go imagine in the future, you know. Imagine a
Yeah, I
future
think
where you can do
on
anything.
a longer time scale of 5 to 10 years, I could love to see the Optimus robot. Yeah, like, you know, I mean, that really blows my mind. I mean, like FSD, some of you with Tesla, you already experienced partially how it works, so it's already here. But I think with a robot, like, help me to do my laundry, helping me to do the heavy lifting of like moving my house or like, yeah, I think that's really cool lah. Yeah, so really looking forward to it. I do understand it won't be, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, it might not materialize yet. But of course, you never say, who knows, Elon Musk and his team might cut down the timeline. But over the next 5-10 years, I think that will be really cool to see like robots in my house, you know, like every house will have a robot, or maybe like half our households will have one to help me to do some stuff. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
And speak to you sarcastically, right? Using Grok AI. All right, JC, what do you think?
So for me, I think next year at least, so 2024, it's very likely that we are now in a higher for longer interest rate environment. So of course, this higher for interest rate environment for Tesla, it's also it's a thing for every company, including Tesla itself. So this higher for longer interest rate will also affect their own operating costs, because they have to definitely pay higher interest rates. And then for consumers who are looking to actually purchase vehicles from Tesla itself, they do have to note that with this high interest rate, higher car loan payment monthly. So it will be really good to see how Tesla actually manage this whole high interest rate environment for 2024, how they can use all the different solutions that they can do to actually attract buyers to continue purchasing products with Tesla. For, let's say, 5 years down the road, probably that will be 2028. Okay, not yet to the Singapore target in 2030 green plan, but so 5 years down the road, probably we would see Tesla still dominating this EV space itself with all these very nice luxury cars that everyone really loves. Because I mean, I've been here today, I've been looking at all the cars. It's amazing. I've never really been inside the Tesla, so today is like the first time for me to see the interior as well. So it's like, wow, it's amazing. So 5 years later, it will be really cool to see how Tesla as a company actually continue to evolve. We talked a little bit about AI just now, how they can use different AI solutions to actually help the company. And then 10 years, wow, that's really far away, but hopefully the world has transitioned to mostly electric or at least hybrid vehicles. And it would be nice to see really a lot of charging networks, superchargers, more Teslas on the road. Yeah, that would be really great for the company as well.
Right. Okay, disruptive innovation, right, usually is on an S-curve. So for EV adoption particularly versus ICE car usage right now, it's just more than 10%. So I believe there are studies out there that say beyond the 10% mark, it takes less than 10 years for it to reach 80%. So within 10 years, our conversation will be very different. You know, when we're looking on the roads, I think Daren also recently traveled to Shanghai, and he says the roads are so quiet, right? So that's something that we'll be able to see, that, you know, there's no more like the motorcycles go past at night and that kind of thing. Everything's going to be electric. Everything's going to be silent.
Just to add one very cool thing that you said, the roads are quiet while the cars are quiet. So that's amazing. So that's one thing that can actually help. I think the roads here, because with EV, there's no sound in it, so it actually helps with noise pollution as well. So that'll be a really cool thing to see 10 years or 5 years from now.
Right, and I do believe for myself, right, I've also watched some vlogs of YouTubers traveling in Norway, and when you look at their multi-story car parks, every single car park lot has an EV charger. So there is no like idle fees there. I would suppose there's no idle fees there because every single EV there is every single parking lot there has an EV charger, and almost every car there is an EV. Like no one uses ICE cars there anymore. So it's quite amazing to think of the future that we can see. But let's expand on that a bit, right? What do you all think will be different in our region, right? Because this is, Tesla Singapore, TeslaCon Singapore is Asia Pacific's first event. What do you all foresee will be the difference of the surroundings around us, like in terms of the environment, in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of jobs, for Singapore or for the Southeast Asian region?
I can think of two main things. One, maybe Singapore and also the broader Southeast Asia. I think Singapore has a plan by 2030 to remove all ICE vehicles, which means all cars have to be EVs, right? So that also means like less pollution, a quieter environment. So I think that helps in general. And 2030 is not that far away. We are already like 2 months to 2024. Yeah, so that's like 5-6 years down. So that is like a reality that the government set. It's a timeline that the government set, and it's going to happen in 6 years' time. Then I think on a parallel track with Optimus, the robots, right? I think they will. So a lot of people are also afraid, like, hey, the robots will remove some, will make my job obsolete and all that. So they are worried, lah. But I feel like maybe 10 years from now, some of the jobs that we will be doing will be very different from what we are doing now. So just to draw a comparison, right? I think maybe like 50 years ago or 100 years ago, many of the jobs then are obsolete now, and many of the jobs that we are doing today, 80% of them were not yet like invented or created 50 years ago. So what I mean to say is like in 5 or 10 years down, some of the jobs that will be doing will be new lah, and some of the more like easy or mundane stuff, the robots can do for us. So that is also something that I look forward to in a way, like how the world changed and how society slowly adapt to it. Yeah.
All right. I do want to build on what Rui Ming said, right? So I do have this idea, right? So I think for Singapore as well as most of our Southeast Asian region, right, we are all extremely passionate about food. And so when I think about this food equation and I watch some YouTubers, they break down how difficult it is to be a hawker out there. And then I think, is Optimus able to replicate this? If someone is like doing char kway teow out there, just doing this for like 10 hours on end, serving char kway teow to people, doing a very laborious job. And Optimus and Tesla's FSD computer and their vision system and their inference system is able to watch a particular hawker, how he puts his ingredients in, how he cooks his noodles, and he just shows the robot how he does it 100 times. And then the robot just does it and can do it for him in a hawker stall. That's the possibility that we can imagine in the local context, right? And then I started to think even more, right? Expand beyond that. What if someone, like our visitors, we do have some visitors from America, from Europe, beyond that, if they feel like, hey, I've traveled to Singapore before, I like the Hokkien Mee here, then I feel like eating Hokkien Mee, can I use my Tesla bot to cook Hokkien Mee? Go out, source the ingredients for me, cook it, and in the exact style of the chef that you want that Hokkien Mee from. Because we have specialty, we have Michelin star, lah, this hawker very good. Because most of this will be limited in our lifetimes by the person, right? So if the uncle gets to 80, 90 years old, he usually sell his recipe, then 20,000, then he want to retire already. This can actually be in a database and someone can profit from this, Yeah, so that's just my idea. What do Kelvin and JC think about this?
I think so Singapore, they have quite a few things going for them, right? For the first, they have the best digital bank, the DBS, which I think had some disruption last week, but that's not the point. Then they also have the best airport in the world, which right now is trying to go passportless. So actually, you don't have to require a passport to travel through the Changi airport anymore. Right now, you still need, maybe next year. But the thing is, Singapore right now is still a financial hub. It's still known as a financial hub. So when you look at the STI index, the top companies are still all the banks, are still dominated by the banks. And when I check, the most innovative countries, Singapore is not within the top 10. It's places like San Francisco, Shanghai, Hong Kong, but Singapore is nowhere near. But the weird thing is, Singapore right now is churning out a lot of IT students, IT graduates. They are doing a lot of research on the IT stuff also. So it's not hard to imagine that one day Singapore could be the Silicon Valley of Asia, where all the top IT people will come to Singapore to work, and Singapore will be known as one of the IT hub for Asia. That also means that Singaporeans will have to deal with competition, not just physically, but also from remote workers from India, from China, Vietnam. People who are cheaper labor, who are more hardworking, more determined to earn more money than maybe some of us. So I think that's good for Singapore also, and that's because it also forces us to work harder, but it also pushes us to be more competitive advantage than all the other people here. Yeah.
All right. JC, what do you think?
Yeah. So I think both Kelvin and Remy talk very good points, especially the point of how things will change. Especially Regan yourself, you also talk about how the world will change with Tesla. So Singapore-wise, infrastructure changes. Of course, we will definitely see more chargers, EV chargers, preferably Tesla superchargers. The more, the better. And then with all these chargers, people get to different places better. So I understand Daren and the team went all the way to Thailand. So yeah, so this can improve. So regionally, not just for Singapore itself, so regionally, Malaysia, Thailand, even Southeast Asia as a whole, this EV adoption will definitely kick in. So all of these different countries will start to have more infrastructure, be it chargers, even for jobs also. There will be more jobs created to actually handle all of these different this whole new EV wave that can happen in our region. Because like you mentioned, in Norway, right? Yeah, Norway has the whole charging network over there already, but we do not have it in our region yet. So this is also a thing for the future of our region, even our country and our region as well, where the future we can have the entire car park, multi-story car park, just filled with chargers. Can be all the different charging companies, etc. So all of these are also opportunities. Then you need people to maintain it. So that's job creation. And then I think they spoke also about this battery recycling. So these are also good for the environment as well. You recycle the battery because with more electric vehicles being produced, which means there'll be a need for more batteries created. And then you recycle this battery, reuse it, better for the earth, better for the environment, and then it's really good, and it's very green and very sustainable. So this whole infrastructure for our country as well as regionally will actually improve, especially with the whole Southeast Asia. We are actually poised to be one of the stronger economy in the next few years to go. So because we do see the other regions started to come down. So we will be the bigger region, so it will be nice with Tesla driving all of this change, infrastructure-wise, job-wise, and environment-wise. Yeah.
Right, and I do believe that a lot of the Tesla owners in the region already do very aggressive journeys from Singapore to Malaysia to Thailand. I think the first panel, right, where Art and the Tesla owners Thailand team, they drove within 2 days from Thailand all the way to Singapore. So if they can do that within 2 days, I have a high certainty. I think a lot of the panelists will agree that we have a high certainty that there is no excuse for people to avoid the transition into the future anymore, right? So does any one of the audience members want to take any questions to any of the panelists? All right, we have a hand over there. Oh.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to understand more. I was hoping you all would talk about it, but you haven't mentioned. I think Twitter, X, has come out with an AI recently. It's called Grok, right? And I'm really keen to find out more about Grok because it's supposed to be an AI with a sense of humor. And if I'm going to spend 150K or 200K on a car, I hope the car can entertain me, you know. So can any of you, I was wondering whether any of you actually have experience trying out Grok because I'm dying to try, but I don't have a chance to try it. So is it really a big deal, you know?
All right, I do believe that for my panelists to take this, right, Grok hasn't arrived in our region yet, so we are not able to purchase X Premium Plus membership. So I don't think most of us will be able to have tried it, but for my panelists, do expand on what you think the potential of Grok is, you know, as an AI assistant. So the question is, recently, Elon had created XAI, and they came up with this AI assistant similar to ChatGPT that is called Grok. So basically, it's apparently on Twitter, a lot of people who are on X, people who are using it, they find that it's very interactive, very sarcastic, you know, tells jokes, but it's also able to give you good information and up-to-date information compared to GPT 3.5 or GPT 4 where you have to pay for it. So what do you all think are the potentials of this technology? Even though this is straying a little bit away from the Tesla conversation, to give your opinions if you all think anything comes up.
I haven't used it yet, so I can't really comment from personal experience. But I've seen like people post about their own experience, beta testing and all that. It seems pretty good, like a good product. Of course, it's still in early stages, and I think once it's mass released to the public, then we will have a better maybe understanding and a clearer picture of the value that this software actually brings to us. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I've not also used it. I've not seen it as well. However, because it's an AI assistant as well, so there's also a lot of different AI assistants for different companies. So it's very likely it may be very similar. The thing for such AI assistant is I would say kind of misuse. So wastage of computing power to ask a very weird question. So these are probably things that X could think of and then actually build on this and enhance it. So they can make it even better than all of these different AI assistant companies that have all these different features. So work on it and then it can get better. Yeah, that's.
All right. So I do believe these AI assistants take a bit of time. So given the time that Elon and XAI have been given, we might have to wait a while before we are able to see what its true potential is. So, give it a few years, half a year, a few years. So I do believe our panel has come to an end in terms of time. All right. So I will do a small plug please follow Kelvin Learns Investing on YouTube. All right. Pretty famous. All right. Jin Cheng JC and Mumu, our sponsor, please go visit the booth over there. And for Rui Ming, at ruiminginvest.com. his website, and at Hey Rui Ming on X. All right. Thank you, everyone.